Hey everybody, today I'm going to do something a little different for a video. It's going to be more like a slideshow with just simple questions that are going to be appearing on your screen. And the reason I'm doing this is because after I made my upgrade to Batocera version 40 video, and I've gotten this in the past with other Batocera upgrade videos, I keep getting comments asking, should I upgrade? And there's no real answer to that for everyone. There are a lot of things to consider, so it's a very subjective answer, and I tend to err on the side of caution. So odds are, if you are asking me, should you upgrade, the answer is usually going to be probably not. And I wanted to create a few questions to maybe help guide you down the path of figuring out if upgrading a Batocera version is right for you. Now, one thing that I'm not considering in this is security, especially if you have your Batocera system connected to a network that has online capabilities. There may be other factors you want to consider around security, and I'm not gonna broach those subjects here. But to start out, one of the questions I came up with is simply, are you satisfied with your current installation of Batocera? Because if you are, if everything is working and there's nothing else you want from it, and it's meeting all of your emulation needs, all of your gaming needs, then there's really not a reason to upgrade. So maybe just leave it like it is. I will say, in addition to any security topics I'm not covering, with any piece of software, you can sort of imagine that it will become riskier and more difficult or require more effort to upgrade across multiple versions. So if you think you're going to upgrade in the future, I think it's fine to skip, one or two versions. But, if you're trying to upgrade from the latest from 10 versions back, you're probably going to run into more issues. It's probably going to require more effort from you to upgrade that many versions to the latest. So if you think you're going to want to upgrade in the future, I would try to stay near to the current version. But again, if you're completely satisfied, then I probably wouldn't touch it, unless you just want to end up frustrating yourself by having to reconfigure things and figure things out again that may potentially break. That leads us on to our next question, which is simply, have you read the changelog? If you go over to batocera.org, up near the top right of the screen, one of the options you can click on is the changelog, and it will display, the first thing it'll display is the latest stable release of Batocera, which at this time is version 40, and it will show you the notes and changelog for that release. And what that lets you do is see if there's anything new being added or anything changing that interests you. If you want to know whether you should upgrade, look at the changelog and see if there's anything there that you would get in this new version that you really want to have. And if you don't see anything that jumps out at you, then maybe this release isn't for you. But if there is something new that's getting added or something that's changed that you really want, then yeah, maybe it's worth trying the upgrade. But it's real important to just always make sure you check the changelog before you do any upgrades to your Batocera system, just so you know what you're getting into. And it'll also point out, like I said, things that are changing, like in version 40, where you place your Singe games is no longer the Daphne ROMs folder. There's a new Singe folder for it, and that's covered in the changelog, so you would know what you need to do once you complete the upgrade, or at least some of the things you might need to do differently once you complete the upgrade. My next question really comes down to how frustrated you are likely to get after attempting an upgrade, and that question is, are you prepared for something to break? Odds are something when you upgrade Batocera is going to break, or maybe that's a little harsh. Maybe something will need reconfiguring. It's possible that you've done customizations that will be lost. Things like that. So you've got to be ready for something to break, and you've got to be ready to reconfigure things. And I think it's really best to go into an upgrade of anything, honestly, not just Batocera, but any software upgrade. The best frame of mind to have is that the worst case scenario is going to happen. So it's very important that you have backups, that you know how to use those backups, and that you're prepared mentally to completely start over from scratch, should you need to, should the worst happen. Maybe it won't happen, but you want to be ready for it in case it does. So if you feel like you would get frustrated having to reconfigure your Batocera system, then maybe skip it, or don't update it. But yeah, you just sort of got to get yourself in the right frame of mind for that. But yeah, those are some questions that I think you should, we should all ask ourselves. And that last one I do want to include, it's especially important to make sure you have a backup, make sure it's stored somewhere safe, make sure you know how to use it and restore it. Otherwise, it's really no good. But yeah, it's important to have those backups. Just assume the worst is going to happen if you do try the upgrade. For the most part, the version 40 upgrade, I think, went pretty smoothly for me. The only weird thing that happened was when I started up some certain games. I remember, like on PS2 games and PS3 games, the first several games I launched had like really low frame rates, and I don't remember changing anything specific, but it just sort of got better. Like I launched it for I launched a PS3 game for like the third or fourth time, and it was very, very laggy, very bad performance-wise. And then I launched it for like one more time, and it was fine. And then every game I launched after it was fine. So I don't really know what the deal was there. But that was the only moment where I thought, uh-oh, am I going to have to reinstall version 39? But no, ultimately everything just worked out. I may have toggled some settings. I don't know what it was. I think my first thought was it might have been like the display resolution, but it was an upgrade, and the resolution I had set was still like max 1080p, so that didn't really change it, and I haven't been able to adjust anything that takes it back to the bad performance, so it's just one of those things that I'll just have to like chalk up to just being one of those weird things that happened right after the upgrade. But for the most part, things seem to be running pretty well now. I haven't really run into any major issues. The only thing I've noticed in trying to make some other videos is that the visual pinball, whenever I have my Elgato connected, for whatever reason, and I blame this more on the capture device not being the best, is like the physics get all wonky when the capture device is connected. And I did at first have it connected when I first did the upgrade, and I thought for a while that something was messed up with visual pinball, but it turns out that once I disconnected the capture device, it just ran like HDMI straight from the PC to the TV. It was fine, and visual pinball played just like it always has. But so far I am pretty happy with the upgrade. If you ask me, is there really anything in it that, for the way I game and for what my expectations were, that I really had to have? The answer is no. But I just wanted to do the upgrade, see what it was like. I like to stay on the latest stable version, but ultimately, for me, there's really nothing here over version 39 that would make me, if I could go back, that would make me say I really, really, really need to upgrade to 40. So like I said, these were just some questions to ask yourself to maybe help you decide whether or not you want to upgrade. And I think the most important things in there are, as I've said a few times already, is, make sure you have backups, be prepared for the worst, or at least be prepared to have to reconfigure things, especially customizations that you may have made. For For example, when I did the upgrade, I lost my unofficial customization to have the Libretro Citra core. So I had to go do all those steps again to get that back in there. So things like that, you just got to be prepared to put in a little bit of work when you do an upgrade. Just expect things to go wrong, prepare for the worst, and hope for the best. And be sure you read the changelog, because if you're asking someone online whether or not you should upgrade, you should have already at least read the changelog and probably have an idea of whether or not you truly do want to upgrade or not, without needing to ask someone else. I'm not trying to be harsh there. I'm just trying to say that it's one of those things that there's no one-size-fits-all answer, and it's really going to come down to you and your personal preferences on whether or not you should make the leap to the latest version.